Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you being here, and today I want to provide you with a wonderful review of Eo2 Tibet 2 Eo2, and I want to thank Ansar Oud and his team for creating these marvelous masterpieces. They are absolute magnificent creations. I've learned that to put together certain ingredients requires a high degree of skill, because in its original form they can be very pungent or very strong, and very unappealing, not pleasing to the nose because of its concentration. So these oils that are put together to create these marvelous perfumes and extracts are very precious, but very difficult to work with. So I want to thank Ansar Oud once again, and also the people who provide this valuable information here on the internet, to provide it so for us to listen to and learn about. So I have Eo2 Tibet here, and actually I opened it up already, but it comes in this velvet box here, and this is the end cap. It's a little too big to put in the other type boxes that have velvet, and it comes in the leather case there, created by Habib Dingo, the man who creates Bibles for the Pope. And the leather is just beautiful. You can see the natural effects of the veg tan calf grain here, and it's just gorgeous, and it has the wood cap. And I wanted to just remove it so you guys can see what the color is like. Now I'm gonna be spraying two fragrances, this one and Private Blend. I belong to a group of people, fragrance collectors, that give their opinion on fragrances, and people have told me that there's similarities between Eo2 Tibet and Private Blend. The sweetness and the fragrances are closely related, how they come across. So yeah, this is Eo2 Tibet, and I just wanted to read a second here, a couple of things that Ansar wrote. It says, the sweaty sensual signature of Eo number 2 Tibet flows with jasmine, the kind that requires tons of petals to turn into oil. Proper auto, which is auto means oil, and black currant, which is like a berry, and it's black. It's very sticky and hard to work with, and it's sweet. And says that there's Georgian rose, a coriander waltz, onto the floor, creeping with kepi agarwood, and it bleeds red sambac, and a primal red peppery red are scented of steaming bedroom sweat spent musk. It says, before it became a commercial synthetic staple, the sensual funk of muscus grains have baffled and bewildered perfumers for centuries. They toyed and tried and eventually mastered musk's alchemy, and that's when the party started and how the ravageurs were born. That's what he states here. It has Tibetan musk, cumin, helichrysum, and it says it's drunk on black tea and castoreum. But I wanted to actually read the notes. Here, the top notes are coriander, Sichuan pepper, pink pepper, cumin, cedar. The heart notes are helichrysum, black currant, jasmine sambac, rose otto, black tea. The base notes are Tibetan musk, wild kepi agarwood, sandalwood, castoreum, and beeswax. So I just wanted to mention something about oud. Uh, Oud is a fixative. It's used at the base of these fragrances with others that help stabilize and help prolong and create better projection for the scents. So the base on this fragrance is sandalwood, kepi agarwood, Tibetan musk, castoreum, and beeswax. So I wanted just to mention that these fragrances, when sprayed on skin, especially oud, because it's natural, it's not linear. It has dimensionality and depth, and so with everybody, well, with people's genetics, the pheromones, the oils, the heat, the temperature outside, and then people's perception on how they experience things and how they associate it in their mind will give a different experience, right? So that's what something about oud. It changes. It apparently with oud, the drier the skin, the more it lasts, but the oilier skin dilutes it more, and therefore it enhances the sweeter notes when the skin's a little bit more oily. And that's in regards to oud. And then I had written something down about fermentation, because there's a lot of people, they when they think about oud, they think about fecal and all that stuff, blue cheese. The truth is this: fermentation can cause literal fecal nuances in oud distillations as a result of butyric acid and fats in the wood that is traditionally soaked in water beforehand to increase the yield of the oil, which is typically pretty low. So even though fermentation notes have become synonymous with oud, by default, oud smells resinous, but most of the time, when it's done properly, it smells sweet and floral. And there's many types of sweet notes like plum, there's like honey, and many other types like honey powder and fruits. The thing with oud is the longer you leave it soaked in water, the more it ferments. So when soaked in water for months at a time, the smell that's captured in the distillation can range from blue cheese, wet jungle floor, petrol, leather, and literal cow dung. The term barnyard and fecals is a standard terminology. So that's just a little bit about of oud and how it behaves and how it changes. Now, in regards to oud, natural ouds from different regions smell different. Artificial ouds imitate those differences. Ouds can range from, like I said, sweet, earthy, woody, medicinal, fecal. Indian ouds can be medicinal or cool. Laotian or Cambodian ouds can smell more fecal or barnyard. Synthetic ouds tend to be flat and linear. So this is why perfumers use synthetic ouds, because it works, because this is one component blended into other complementary ingredients, and it can make a more floral, earthier, and animalic scent. It can be managed very easily, but it's very linear. Whereas with natural, there's depth and dimensionality, and this is why ouds are often worn on their own in the Middle Eastern countries, or burned as wood chips, called bakhur, as an environmental fragrance. So the term alchemy comes to my mind, and alchemy is something that fragrance enthusiasts and creators developed a long time ago, and what they wanted to do was turn these base metals into gold. Um, and so oud now in this fragrance is used as a transmutative ingredient, so it allows an alchemy of of uh, of the ingredients, and it changes the musk and the oud into something magnificent, something that is very well pleasing to the nose and a marvelous creation. So it's it forms and it creates a different experience that is very pleasant. And so this is how oud is used, and the word alchemy is related to it many years ago. Tincture. What is tincture? Well, tincture is any natural ingredient that's placed in ethanol alcohol and is allowed to remain there. Um, there's something refreshing and invigorating about natural scents. There are many ways to create a beautiful smelling fragrance through the process of distillation. So at its core, tincture is where plants are soaked in alcohol and they release their essence and natural scents. This creates a powerful punch for the fragrance, and it's naturally sourced rather than lab produced, allowing the scent to be incredibly lifelike. With just one use, you can transport yourself back to nature and the environment in which it came from. The biggest advantage of tincture is that pretty much anything natural that has a scent can be tinctured. Just pop it into a jar, cover it with ethanol, and let it sit. And behold, you have a delicate smelling tincture you can use on its own, or even add and combine with another fragrance. This will create a unique scent that will leave you standing out in the crowd. So that's what I wanted to talk about in regards to the basics of these fragrances. I have much more to talk about in regards to musk, but we'll cover musk in another episode. I want to continue to talk about Eo2 Tibet, and I'm going to spray it. I'll spray it right here. Oh, it's beautiful. I don't know if you could see that. Oh, this is a very pleasant fragrance. In regards to the notes here, and what I smell is, you can smell a bit of the cumin at first, and the pepper, and that's why I believe it's in the top notes, and it really smooths out very quickly. It's one of the most pleasant, gentleman-like smelling fragrances. It's absolutely amazing. Now, I wanted to talk about three ingredients, because these three ingredients are gonna help you decide whether you like this or not. So, in regards to the ingredients, I've derived some information in regards to what they are, because I wanted to know more about them. And so at the top you get the cedar, the pepper, and the cumin. I smell it off the top. It's really evident, and it fills your nose, and it's really pleasing. And then the sweetness comes into the mix here. And I wanted to talk about the first ingredient, Helichrysum italicum, which is a steam distilled, and it produces a yellow reddish essential oil, popular in fragrance for its unique scent, best described as a herbaceous, sweet, and honey-like substance. It means epithet, angustifolium means narrow-leaved. It's commonly misspelled as augustifolium. Helichrysum italicum is a species of flowering plant in the family of Asteraceae. It's sometimes called the curry plant because of its strong smell. It grows on dry, rocky, or sandy ground around the Mediterranean. The stems are woody at the base and can reach 60 centimeters or one or more in height. The clusters are yellow flowers and are produced in the summer, and they retain their color after picking and are used in dry flower arrangements. So I did not know much about this substance or this ingredient, and I really wanted to know uh, how he's using it in the mid. He says he uses blackcurrant here. Now, I've smelled blackcurrant in Creta Ventus, and it gives it that fruity smell, and I really love it. I think that it produces a fresh smell, and I can really get that. Blackcurrant is a deciduous shrub in the family. Well, this is a mouthful here. Grassulariaceae, grown for its edible berries. It's native to temperate parts of Central and Northern Europe and Northern Asia, where it prefers damp, fertile soils and is widely cultivated both commercially and domestically. It's one of the natural materials in a perfumer's palette. It was first used by Guerlain in Perfume Chamade in 1969. It's a note that lies between green and red fruit scents, and it can have unpleasant overtones when badly orchestrated. And see, this is what I was talking about. These perfumers have to really know how to mix these notes, or else they can just ruin everything. It's a very powerful raw material that runs through the entire olfactory pyramid and can be smelled from the top notes. So that's why it's in the mid there, because it's in between. It's fun. It's interesting that it says it runs through the entire olfactory pyramid. So that's interesting that they say that. That means this ingredient has a broad array of different facets. It's a spectrum that encompasses a wide range of different nuances, and so it's quite amazing. So the other scent that I wanted to talk about is jasmine sambac. Its origin is in India. It's a beautiful plant that flowers and blooms late in the evening. And it blooms in the early dawn. It turns out to be a dark brown yellowish liquid. Jasmine Sambac Absolute has a sensual, soothing fragrance that promotes a sense of harmony. It's thick. They use it in the middle notes as the aroma is strong. It blends well generally with other fragrances like sandalwood, ylang ylang are two great examples. It's an incredibly dense, intense floral aroma, and it's more musky and masculine than jasmine grandiflorum. So, since the ancient times, jasmine has been referred to as the king of oils. Rose is the queen, and apparently this is because jasmine is the most masculine floral oil. It's also interesting to note that it takes 8,000 carefully hand-picked blossoms to produce 1 gram of jasmine absolute. That's amazing. And this is why these fragrances are so precious, so valuable. The price on these, it's not inexpensive. I mean, but the value is it's invaluable, really. The other note that I was a little bit quite interested in is Rose Otto. So what is Rose Otto? And so I was thinking, how do they use it, how it develops? Well, Rose Otto, its botanical name is Rose damascena, and it's a flower that originated in Turkey, and it turns out to be a pale yellow liquid or paste. It has a rich, aromatic, sweet floral aroma of freshly picked flowers. It originates in Turkey and Bulgaria, and the biggest producers of rose oil, and their climate The petals of flowers do not overproduce wax, it says here. Approximately 4,000 kilograms of petals are required to produce 1 kilogram of pure rose oil. The exotic nature of this was appreciated by ancient Greeks, Chinese, Indians, Persians, and Romans. To this day, it's been documented and indicates that their medicinal applications of the essential oil were identical to those that exist today. It blends well with bergamot, chamomile, roman, clary, sage, frankincense, geranium, jasmine, lavender, melissa, neroli, patchouli, palmarosas, rosewood, sandalwood, ylang ylang. So that's just quite amazing here that they use one of the most precious substances in the world for this fragrances. So that the rose is one of the world's best known flowers for its stunning and exotic appearance. So that's all I wanted to say about Rose Otto. I find it incredibly interesting that they use this precious ingredient. And now in regards, there was something interesting in regards to the musk here that they use. Well, they use Tibetan musk. So we all know musk comes from a deer, and it comes from the glands of the deer. And it says here that musk has a strong pungent opening, which is somewhat made up of herbaceous notes and fruity lavender. Frankincense is slightly medicinal and spicy notes. So it's interesting that they use this type of musk because it's fruity, and this is what's giving this pleasant aroma to this fragrance. Wonderful. That's just amazing. And one last bit of information I'd like to share before I leave you. I don't want to take too long on this video. I know people get tired, but I wanted to talk about this castoreum. So what is castoreum? Well, it's believe it or not, it comes from the beaver's anal glands. Castoreum comes from the word castor, and castor means beaver. So it was used back in ancient times to treat fever, headache, and hysteria. But it has a very sensual, musky smell, and it has very subtle hints of fruitiness in it. And if it's not blended well, it can smell like very strong leather or birch tar. But if you leave it to distill for the proper time, then it will give an excellent fruity smell, and it serves as a wonderful fixative with that allows the fragrances to last longer and to project. So that's a little bit on castoreum. It was used in fragrances like Amouage, Memoir Woman, Dior, Diorama, Givenchy, Satis, Guerlain, Shalimar, Juliet Has a Gun, Mad Madame, Juliet Has a Gun, Midnight Oud, Roche Dove's Reckless, Taur Perfumes 06 Incense Rose. So in regards to these fragrances here that I've just mentioned, some of them may be using synthetic castoreum because it's ethically, people are not killing beavers to extract this oil from the glands of the beaver. It's not really allowed, but Ensar Oud's castoreum are ethically derived, and he's used ingredients that he had before certain laws were instituted. And so yes, this is how it's been acquired, and this is why it's so precious. this this fragrance produces like a bubble around you, and it's very sweet, and it has a beautiful musk, and it's lovely. The fragrance has been I think it's been pruned in a way that all the rough edges uh, have been smoothed out in the older version. Now I just want to do spray private blend and see. Wow, this is a private blend here. So if you put it right behind the ears, it will last you most of the night, and in a way that you'll be able to smell it very very strongly, and you won't go anosmic to this. So I do smell, I can smell the difference between the Eo2 Tibet and the private blend. You can smell the black currant in each one of them. It's just beautiful. But this one here, Eo2 Tibet, is more wearable in regards to it's a more refined, more wearable, more crowd pleasing fragrance, and the private blend is quite pungent at first to the nose. It almost smells, I don't want to say urine-like, but it strikes you in that way, and then it starts to tame, and then all the other beautiful notes start coming out, and then the sweetness starts to develop, and then both fragrances start to smell similar to each other. But this is definitely, I would say, maybe 5 times stronger. This is definitely musk bomb, and much stronger than Eo2 Tibet. So I rate the projection of Eo2 Tibet to be about a 7. It lasts me about 4 to 5 hours on the skin, in which I can smell it strongly, and then about 8 hours I can smell it afterwards. The sillage is good. After 8 hours, it becomes a scent that is very tame and very beautiful and very wearable. It creates a scent cloud around you, and it's very nice. And I do believe that it's worth the cost. It's beautiful. I love it. So I rate that perfume a 10 out of, I would say, a 10 out of 10. It's just gorgeous. I'm happy to have it in my collection, and it's something that's very very pleasing, and I love it. I have other fragrances that are very pungent, not wearable, ouds that are are very strong, that offend people, but this I haven't got that sort of reaction, so that's beautiful. Now, before I go, I wanted to leave everybody with a positive note. I know that this is not related to fragrance, but I wanted just to motivate the people who are my viewers, who are going through a tough time. And I know times have been difficult, and a lot of people are going through stress and problems, and some people have pain, and everybody suffered pain. So I just wanted to say a couple things that can help them make or have a better day. So it says, first of all, we're gonna talk about choosing your relationships wisely. When in life, everybody has a purpose. Everyone you meet will have a purpose. Some will test you, some will use you, and some will teach you. But this is the most important thing here. Some will bring out the best in you. So before you close your eyes at night, think about the people that you love, and keep them. Hold on to them, cherish, tell them I love you, give them a hug, give them a call. You know, try to avoid texting. A call makes a bigger difference. Listening to their voice, even though you may not be able to touch them, can really make a big difference in your life. The people who don't do these things, do away with them. It's about the people who really make you happy. It's not just about intimacy all the time. It's about the person and their heart, and what they mean to you. And think about the things and the experiences that you've had with them. Never underestimate the power of touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring. They have the potential to turn a life around. The most beautiful thing is to see a person you love smiling, and even more beautiful is knowing that you are the reason behind it. So think about that too. Think about your day, and if you've been the reason for a smile on somebody's face. Choose your relationships wisely. Once again, it's better to be alone than to be in bad company. And also, being alone doesn't mean you're lonely, and being lonely doesn't mean you're alone. You need to love when you're ready, not when you're lonely. This is just a principle that will help you remain happy. You know you found true love when you catch yourself falling in love with the same person over and over again. Don't wait for the right person to come into your life. Rather, be the right person to come into someone's life. The one who is meant for you encourages you to be your best, but still loves you and accepts you at your worst. Never allow someone to be your priority while allowing yourself to be their option. So this adds value to you and to your relationships. Some relationships are like glass. It's better to leave it broken than to hurt yourself trying to put it back together. Just because one person doesn't seem to care for you doesn't mean you should forget about everyone else who does. Someone doesn't have to be the wrong for you to be the right. It's okay to be angry. It's never okay to be cruel. Never do something permanently foolish just because you are temporarily upset. Silence is often the loudest cry. Pay attention to those who care about you. We don't always need advice. Sometimes all we need is a hand to hold, an ear to listen, and a heart to understand. So once again, it's better to be alone than in bad company. This is why I am in your life. So I hope that everybody can find some comfort, some hope, and something that they can hold on and cherish to tonight or today. And I want to leave you with that. I appreciate your time, and if you've gotten to this point of my video, sending my brothers and sisters big hugs. Thank you very much for joining my channel and putting up with me. Thank you. Have a good day.